Hi, I'm Mark Altman. Welcome to Back Talk Sports. I am here tonight with three awesome guests. I've got to my left the immortal TJ Horgan.
Immortal's right.
I've got to his left a descendant of the Indianapolis Colts, John Hand, and I've got Alex Barth, the one and only.
You're like Trump with these nicknames.
Absolutely. So, listen, we've got some great topics to discuss tonight, but I want to start out with a guy who rode the coattails of Michael Jordan all the way to several championships, Scottie Pippen. And when we talk about Scottie Pippen, he came out today after Cleveland won the championship last night, and we know there's been a lot of griping this year about how when the Warriors had 73-9 record, all the former NBA players said we could have beaten that team, and Scottie Pippen came out and said, now we can claim our right to the 95-96 Bulls are the best NBA team ever. And I got to ask you guys, you know, Scottie Pippen is not my metric or barometer for knowledge by any stretch. So
He's not the arbiter for best team.
He's not the arbiter. He's not the arbiter. So, Alex,
Stephen A. Smith breathes a sigh of relief.
So, Alex, I want to start with you and ask you, how do we figure that out? What's the criteria for determining the best team ever?
So I've always been, I tend to have this argument more with players, who's the best player ever, but my logic will apply to teams. I've always been in the school that you can't, because the NBA now is a lot different than it was. I mean, I would say Russell's teams were the best ever because they won the titles, but how good would a 6'9" center be in today's NBA? I'm not saying Bill Russell's not a good player, don't get me wrong, because my dad will kick me out of the house. But you don't know. How good would Steph Curry have been back then without the three-point line? Would he have been irrelevant? Would he have even been an NBA player? And that being all said, I'm still going to answer your question. There's only one barometer. The best team, it's dominance, it's winning. Who truly dominated their era would be the team with the most success. If you want to talk about teams, most titles. If you want to talk about 1 year, the most success. So I would say the Bulls, because they won the most games when still winning a title. I think if you don't win a title, you can't be one of the best teams of all time because you weren't even the best team that year.
So with that said, John, let me go to you and bring up something. When you look back at the 2007 New England Patriots, the team that lost the Super Bowl, which is one of our hardest memories ever, you know, I think you could actually make an argument that they're still the greatest team of NFL all time. So do you automatically have to win a championship to be considered the best team of all time?
That's a great question. In today's day and age, I think it is that way, because the way we inhale sports is by winning. And what's the holy grail of winning? It's a championship. And so I think when we talk greatest players, when we talk who's better than who, what's the first thing that comes up? Championships, rings. So that's, at the end of the day, that's what matters. That's what you're remembered for. In 5 years from now, I don't know how much we're going to be talking about the Warriors winning 73 games. I think we're going to be talking about LeBron James winning a championship.
Okay, and TJ, you know, just to add on to what John said, in addition to the question of do you have to win a championship, does an accomplishment like what Golden State had of winning 73 games, is it really for naught if you don't win the championship?
I'll tell you what, there's this wall of hats behind us. I've been eyeing this since the start. I'll tell you how you decide who the best team of all time was. I'll tell you exactly how the Golden State Warriors
talk about best look, it's hands down. Best look,
they
hands
had
down the Warriors.
76 games to lose, and they lost 3 in the finals. That's bad. But they lost 3 in the regular season. The Golden State Warriors are the best team of all time.
But who cares?
Did they
didn't win a championship.
Title? We're not looking at greatest regular season. And yes, again, to bring the argument back to players, Dan Marino is probably a top 5 quarterback of all time without the ring. But if Dan Marino wins a ring, I think we're talking him or Brady. I really do. If he used 2 or 3 pieces of bling on his finger.
If you bring Draymond Green into Game 5, the Warriors are champions.
At the end of the day, if you are not truly the best team, of your year, how can you be one of the best teams of all? So I'll tell you this, if we consider the Golden State Warriors one of the greatest teams of all time, do we automatically have to rank the Cleveland Cavaliers ahead of them?
I would say no.
They just played a 7-game series to decide the best team. Cleveland won. Cleveland was the better team.
So interestingly enough, Las Vegas came out, I don't know if you heard this today, but and already Golden State is the favorite ahead of Cleveland again over next year.
Who knows if LeBron's going to still be in Cleveland, right?
True. One point I would bring up to you guys, you know, my vote, and just to get some quick thoughts from you, all 3 of you on this, my vote for the best team ever, and the argument I'd make is the 85-86 Celtics. Yeah. And that's simply because you have not only a Hall of Fame front line, 2 of those 3 are the greatest 50 players in the history history of the league. But you also had Bill Walton, who, when the few games of his career he was actually healthy, was probably the most dominant sixth man in the history of the game when he was actually healthy.
And a true six man. He only started 12 games that year. You have 6 men now who will start half the game.
Exactly. And so I think that when you have a team that won the championship, that had a Hall of Fame front line, and you want to put those guys up against the 95, 96 Bulls, I'll tell you what, Dennis Johnson, no one could ever stop Michael Jordan, but if anybody could slow him down, Dennis Johnson would be the top.
You know
of my
what?
list.
I'll tell you this, and this is why I put the Bulls ahead of the Warriors and the Celtics team ahead of the Warriors, title or not. Two reasons. I watched that documentary on CSN, very well done. You look at how unselfishly the Celtics played and the kind of passing that they were able to achieve, and then you watch Game 7 last night in the fourth quarter, time winding down, you have Curry throwing the ball off people's ankles, and you have defensive mismatches by the Cavaliers. I don't know how many times they left Draymond Green alone from deep. It's not a team game from either of these teams. That 86 Celtics team, personified team. The other reason is what ended up, I think, being Golden State's undoing is at the end of the season, and Steve Kerr said, he asked the team, do you want to chase this record or do you want to kind of take it easy and rest and get ready? They chose to chase the record. They ended up in 7 games against OKC. They ended up in 7 against Cleveland. They were tired. Remember, Cleveland swept their way through. The Celtics understood it wasn't about being the greatest team of all time. It was about being the greatest team that year. If there's a night Larry Bird needed to score 50, he'd score 50. If there's a night they needed him to score 20, he'd score 20. They didn't care about the records. They didn't care about the statistics. They didn't care about any of that. They cared about one thing, and that was the trophy. That was the end of it. I don't think you can say that about Cleveland or Golden State this year. There was a lot more on their minds than just that Larry O'Brien. You watched LeBron's reaction last night. You know that's true.
So let's shift gears. John, I'm going to turn my attention to you. Let's shift gears for a moment. Now that basketball and hockey have ended, and we get to the one sport that markets itself year-round better than any, the NFL. And, where the OTAs are taking place and so on and so forth. And I would love to know some bold predictions from you guys, because we have a precedent already that's been set. Rex Ryan, the biggest mouth of all, has announced that the Bills have won the offseason. Now, I'm starting to wonder with Rex.
Greatest team of all time.
He's so desperate
Forget
for
being the best in the regular season.
He's just so desperate for some kind of success, John, that he had to announce they won the offseason. So.
Well, they just did a segment about participation trophies, right?
There you go, Rex. There you go.
I don't know what winning the offseason necessarily means, but it seems like a participation trophy type of deal, right? Yeah, I mean, this guy, he goes to Buffalo, probably the one place on the map where there's no headlines coming out of it, and he somehow spews headlines. I mean, that's what the guy does. He's an entertainer, and he's probably more of that than a football coach. I don't know how a team reacts to that, right? I mean, the coach is putting a lot of pressure on you. It's already a pressure-filled league, and to be honest, if they don't win the season, he's on the hot seat. So I don't know if he's not, I don't think, making the smartest moves.
In what world did the Bills win the offseason? Right? They're all pro wide receiver had foot surgery. Their first round pick had, I believe, shoulder surgery. They drafted Cardale locker room cancer, Jones.
And Rex hired his fat brother as the defensive coordinator.
In what world did they win the offseason? What did the other teams do?
Wait a minute, his brother led the 32nd ranked defense, New Orleans Saints, in the NFL last year. Let's not get crazy here.
And they gave the internet a whole just mess of memes with them
that
riding
stupid bike.
Yeah, them riding a tandem bike to downtown Buffalo.
Rex, in what world did you win the offseason? What did you accomplish? You're down players. You brought in worse locker room people into a team that had a lot of trouble last year. Your starting running back got fat and blamed his wife.
All right, so TJ, there's nothing worse than sports broadcasters who won't stick their neck out and make an actual prediction.
Right.
Tell us something that when we revisit after the season, we're going to say, TJ Horgan was all over that.
Julio Jones has the best season of any wide receiver of all time.
We need a
Julio
eye
Jones.
test, statistics, touchdowns, yards, clarify.
Yards, maybe not touchdowns, by far yards.
I mean,
I doubt he breaks receptions. I doubt that.
Last year he was pretty close to, he was setting records. I don't know if he's setting records, but he had an all-time career season last year.
Matt Ryan doesn't have his binky Tony Gonzalez there anymore to bail him out.
He hasn't had him for 3 years, and it's been rough.
Yeah, it's very.
To say the least. But let me back this up a little bit. Everything is there for Matt Ryan and Julio Jones to have the best season of their careers, and for Julio Jones, the best season of all time. They revamped revamped their offensive line. In my opinion, the best signing in this entire offseason. You want to know who won the offseason? The Falcons did when they signed Alex Mack, the best center in the NFL
time
for the
out.
Cleveland
I have a
Browns.
cap on Atlanta Falcons talk during sports talk show, so we're going to have to move on. Alex,
Your fan base is trying to speak.
Yeah,
Let the fan base, let the entire fan base speak.
Listen, there's one thing TJ and I always agree about with the Atlanta Falcons. There's never a cap on Algie Crumpler talk.
Never.
Never a cap on
Patriot,
Algie
former
Crumpler.
Patriot Algie
By
Crumpler.
the way,
right?
I love Algie Crumpler because his first year on the Patriots, he was such a good dude that he convinced Bill Belichick to make him the offensive captain.
Oh, he was.
with Tom Brady.
That
That speaks to your character.
That's all right. So let's go, Alex. So now we've got the Falcons out of the way. What are we talking
So
about?
before I
don't
get
have
to
the
it real quick,
Falcons out of the
there
way.
is a Twitter account called Old Takes Exposed, which
Okay.
goes back and finds old sportscasters' takes from years before.
Yep.
I hope this doesn't end up on there. Khalil Mack will break the single-season sack record. They bring in Bruce Irvin. He's going to play on the line. He'll probably be rushing 80-90% of the time. Yes, he's good in coverage. Khalil Mack is a pass rusher. He wants to get after the quarterback. He can rush a lot more this year than he did last year when he already put up an impressive season. There's some teams in that conference with questionable quarterbacks, questionable offensive lines. Khalil Mack is going to give the sack record a run for his money. I think he can get there. He'll be close if he stays healthy, but I think he can get it.
And to build off that, the Raiders' pass defense is atrocious, so other teams will be passing on
Right.
them. So I think Khalil Mack has the
Teams are going to be throwing
opportunity.
35, 40 times a game against the Raiders. He is going to be a multiple sack per game guy.
Alex, what is the Raiders' consistently biggest problem year after year?
Being the Raiders.
Well, it's penalties.
Penalties.
They take the stupidest
On and
penalties
off the field.
on and off the field. So, John, what about you? What's your bold prediction?
I'm staying close to home here, and I think Jamie Collins will be the NFL Defensive Player of the Year. The guy is already a beast. He's
like
proved
that
that
one.
year in and year out. But this year is a little different. He's headed into a contract year. They have Jamie Collins, Dante Hightower, Malcolm Butler all coming up for contracts. Somebody's got to go. They can't keep them all. You got to prove your worth here. I think Jamie Collins steps up and is the NFL
And let's not
Defensive
forget
Player of the
Ernie
Year.
Adams built Jamie Collins in a laboratory underneath Gillette Stadium. The guy is the
Love that.
perfect defensive player. I want to throw a 1A on to yours. Not only will the Patriots have the Defensive Player of the Year, they will have the AFC Defensive Rookie of the Year in Cy Jones. Roll Tide.
Wow.
That's right.
That is a bold prediction.
I am telling you, as a slot corner, as a third corner, jamming up inside receivers, underneath receivers. I watched this kid play at Alabama. I watched every Alabama football game. He is strong, but more than that, and this is why Belichick took him, he is knowledgeable. He was a wide receiver his first year in college. He knows the routes. He knows the tricks. He knows the techniques. Nobody will be able to get away from this guy. It's not that he's going to have a lot of interceptions. Nobody's going to throw the ball in the arm.
Alex, how does his salary at Alabama compare to what it is for
I'm
the
sure it's a
Patriots?
hit now. I'm sure it's a hit now. After he plays out this rookie deal, kid's going to get paid. Also, going to be one of the top kick returners in the league.
Okay, so on a last note, we're gonna have final word on this segment. Sports. What do we have to look forward to in the upcoming weeks, Alex? Big stories coming up.
I think Gennady Golovkin's fighting in July. If you're not a boxing fan, Kazakhstani 31-year-old undefeated. Has won 98% of his fights by knockout. Most of those by the 6th round. Catch him if you can. The guy, I know boxing isn't what it was. The guy is spectacular. He's the reason Floyd Mayweather retired. He did not want to have to fight the guy. Gennady Golovkin, Triple G, look it up.
Okay, say that one 10 times fast. Okay, go ahead, John. What do you got?
I got, Thursday night NBA draft, right? If you're a Celtics fan, Trader Danny's got the fireworks ready to go. You should think something exciting hopefully will happen if you're a Celtics fan.
Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant.
Yeah, and this
Kevin. No, okay.
start of NFL, NBA free agency, starting with the draft, we'll probably see which way teams are headed in free agency, what they're likely to do. I'd expect some trades near the top, which should be exciting as always.
CJ, talk to us a little bit about Devontae Freeman's workout program in the offseason.
Oh, Devontae Freeman went to his neighbor's yard because he saw this woman raking leaves, and he went over and told her, "Go inside. I'm gonna rake your leaves." And Vic Beasley, I'm gonna contest you. Vic Beasley breaks the sack record. He got big, dude. Have you seen the pictures? Vic Beasley's ginormous.
Okay,
Can't say I follow any Atlanta
All right.
Falcons fan pages.
Listen, for the man, the myth, Alex Barth, for John Hand, TJ Horgan,
Rise up.
I'm
The
Mark
entire
Altman.
Atlanta Falcons
Listen,
fan.
I'm signing off. Please root on U.S. and Argentina. It might get messy, but watch anyway. For Back Talk tonight, Back Talk Sports, I'm Mark Altman.